Welcome back, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. Are there any other matters which any member would like to bring to the attention of the conference? Come again? I see none. We will now start with Agenda 6. This concludes Agenda Item 6. Thank you. We'll now go on to Agenda 7. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we shall now proceed with Agenda Item 7, the adoption of the Ministerial Declaration as contained in the document draft Ministerial Declaration on a Decade of Action for Inclusive and Resilient Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, stroke MCCRVS, stroke 2025, stroke L2. I would like to call upon Honorable Claire Dennis Mapa, Undersecretary and National Statistician and Civil Registrar General, Philippines Statistics Authority, and Chair of the Working Group on the draft text of the Ministerial Declarations of the Third Ministerial Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific, to join us on the rostrum to introduce this declaration. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, please allow me at the outset to express my gratitude to the member states for entrusting me with the responsibility of chairing the working group on the draft text of the Ministerial Declaration of the Third Ministerial Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific. It has been an honor to work alongside with the Vice Chair of the working group, Ms. Nabila Surya, Permanent Representative of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to ESCAP. Her significant contributions to the process have been invaluable. I also like to acknowledge the efforts of the Secretariat through the consultations, and on behalf of all the delegates, I extend our heartfelt appreciation for the support provided by them. I would also like to extend my thanks to each of the distinguished delegates who contributed to and supported these consultations. I deeply appreciate their active participation in the deliberations, as well as the flexibility and the spirit of cooperation they demonstrated right from the very beginning. Indeed, despite different perspectives and some challenging discussions, we successfully reached an agreement by the end of the process. Colleagues, kindly allow me to briefly recall the process. The draft text of the Ministerial Declaration was developed by the Regional Steering Group for the Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific, which includes 22 members and associate members of the ESCAP, as well as 8 development partners. The draft text then went through 2 rounds of written consultations and 6 hybrid sessions held between March and June 2025. Excellencies, this Ministerial Declaration on the Decade of Action for Inclusive and Resilient Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific takes into account progress made since the beginning of the Asia and the Pacific Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Decade and recent developments in this area. It lays out clear actions to accelerate progress towards our shared vision so that all people in Asia and the Pacific benefit from universal and responsive civil registration and vital statistics system. The declaration reflects the region's aspiration to achieve universal civil registration and extend the Asia and the Pacific civil registration and vital statistics decade to 2030. This declaration will guide ongoing efforts to improve civil registration and vital statistics systems to ensure we get everyone in the picture. Excellencies, I am pleased to report that the draft ministerial declaration for adoption today was placed under silent procedure for at least 72 hours and no objections were raised. It is now my honor to present to the conference the draft ministerial declaration as recommended by member states during the consultation for consideration and adoption as contained in the document ESCAP/MCCRBS/2025/L.2. I thank you and the distinguished delegates for your support and cooperation. Thank you, Chair.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to take this opportunity to express our deepest appreciation to Honorable Claire Dennis Mapa, Undersecretary of National Statistician and Civil Registrar General, Philippines Statistics Authority, and Ms. Napila Surya, Permanent Representative of the United Kingdom to ESCAP, Chair and Vice Chair of the Working Group on the draft text of the Ministerial Declaration for the Third Ministerial Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific. Your leadership, dedication, and collaborative spirit have been instrumental in guiding this important process. Thank you for your tireless efforts and valuable contribution to shaping the declaration. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, may I remind all delegations that the draft ministerial declaration was circulated to all member states under silence procedure and no objections were raised. Accordingly, a draft ministerial declaration is now presented to the conference for adoption. I now open the floor for any comments or expression of support. I see none. The document ESCAP stroke MCCRVS stroke 2025 stroke L2 is adopted. Distinguished delegate from Iran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We just raised the flag before the adoption of the declaration, but I think it was unnoticed. Anyway, thank you for giving me the floor. We are request prior to the adoption of the ministerial declaration to deliver an explanation of positions on the declaration. In this regard, the following statement is going to be delivered. So, can I deliver this statement on the?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to extend my appreciations to the Secretariat of UNESCAP for presenting the draft ministerial declaration on a decade of action for inclusive and resilient civil registration and vital statistics in Asia and the Pacific. ESCAP stroke MC CRBS stroke 2025 stroke L2. The Islamic Republic of Iran has reviewed the draft ministerial declaration. However, we are of the firm view that the declaration still includes references to some concepts and phrases in the context of para 18 and para 30B regarding the refugees and gender equality, which are not in conformity with the national laws and regulations of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Accordingly, the Islamic Republic of Iran would not break the consensus reached on the declaration. Nevertheless, it expresses its reservations on the national implementation of para 18 and 30B of the draft declaration. Mr. Chair, the Islamic Republic of Iran requests that this statement to be put in the records and included in the relevant official reports of this conference. Thank you.
We take note of the issues raised, distinguished delegate. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we'll now continue with the agenda item 8, the adoption of the report on the third Ministerial Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific. We have deliberated on a number of issues of significance for this region on civil registration and vital statistics during these 3 days. I note with appreciation that with the cooperation of the delegations and the efficient servicing by the Secretariat, we shall be able to complete all our work on schedule. It is my pleasure to present the draft report. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to present to you the report we are about to adopt contain 3 sections. Part 1, matters calling for action by the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific are brought to its attention. Part 2, it is about the organization. And Part 3 is the account of proceedings. Kindly note that the deliberations during the Ministerial Conference will be summarized in an account of proceedings. This will be circulated to participants within a week of the conclusion of the conference, so that they have an opportunity to ensure that their statements have been accurately reflected. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, you may kindly note that the changes of an editorial or grammatical nature will be taken care of by the Secretariat. May I now invite any comments on the draft report from the floor? We will commence with Section 1 on matters calling for action by the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific are brought to its attention. Part 1, matters calling for action by the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific are brought to its attention, and matters calling for action by the Commission. Are there any comments at this time on the draft recommendation? Shall I proceed? I recognize as this, oh, sorry. If there are there's no comments. If there are none, may I then propose that we adopt the draft recommendation? I see consensus. We will now continue with B, matters brought to the attention of the Commission. Are there any comments at this time on the draft decision under this section? Section Part 2, organization. Part A is the opening, duration, and the organization of the third ministerial conference. I see delegates from Japan. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's standard practice that we have the report up on the screen usually, so it would be very helpful to have that practice again here. It would be a severe exceptional practice here. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll share the report on the screen.
Give us one. Just start in section 2.
Okay. Just signal to me when they're ready.
Section
Good.
Section. Yeah,
Yes, you can see the report on the screen.
can we move to section 2?
We'll move to section 2, organization, and A, opening, duration, and organization of the third ministerial conference. B is attendance. Yes.
Just pause. Pause. We've got lots of time, just pause. Just give them time. Just giving them time to reach. C election officers. Yeah, you've gone C election.
C is election of officers. D is the agenda. And E is other events.
And then if you say this.
Please note that the paragraph 6 will be updated to reflect the full list of opening statements. As mentioned in section 3, account of proceedings will be circulated to member states within a week after the conclusion of the conference for factual corrections. May I propose that ESCAP / MCCR CRVS/25/L1 be adopted. Document ESCAP/MCCRVS/2025/L1 is adopted. This concludes the consideration of the draft report. Yeah? Is that here?
Yeah, just give them a minute.
Yes.
Just give people a
Shall we proceed?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we'll now turn our attention to the Ministerial Panel on Inclusive and Resilient Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Fit for the Future. The Ministerial Panel provides a timely and important opportunity to reflect on our collective progress and reaffirm a commitment to building resilient and inclusive civil registration and vital statistics systems. While notable strides have been made, significant challenges remain. I now have the honor of inviting our distinguished speakers to share their national experiences and perspective on shaping future-ready CRVS systems that leave no one behind. This panel will be moderated by Madam Haishan Fu, Chief Statistician of the World Bank Group and Director of its Development Data Group, and will include honorable panel members from Maldives, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, and Pakistan. I remain here.
Great. Excellencies, the distinguished delegates, partners, and colleagues, warm welcome to this ministerial panel on inclusive and resilient civil registration and vital statistics fit for the future. What a momentous time to have this discussion as the third ministerial conference on CRVS is drawing to a resounding success. Back in 2014, I had the privilege of moderating the opening ministerial panel at the first ministerial conference and witnessed with sincere hope and tremendous optimism the ministerial declaration of the first CRVS decade for the Asia and the Pacific. Now we know over the decade, the world as well as the region has been weathering through an unprecedented period of polycrisis, from health pandemic to economic shocks, from natural disasters to man-made conflicts. But through it all, the Asia-Pacific region has made steadfast progress in the improvement of the CRVS system across many regions, many countries. It is done through political commitment, legal and institutional strengthening, adoption of digital technology, partnerships, and cooperation. This progress ensures that we will have the real foundation in a great model for the rest of the world. So it is a huge honor for me to join 4 distinguished speakers at this panel. They are some of the most prominent and visionary leaders at the forefront of the growing national efforts to accelerate the integration of digital CRVS system as a foundational and a fundamental layer of the digital public infrastructure for inclusive and resilient development that leaves no one behind. So we have with us now from Maldives, His Excellency Mohammed Kinanas, Minister of State for Homeland Security and Technology. And from the Philippines, Honorary Denise Mapa, National Statistician and Civil Registrar General. And from Pakistan, Honorary Lieutenant General Muhammad Munir Afar, Chairman, National Database and Registration Authority, NADRA. And from Papua New Guinea, Honorary Richard Macera, MP, Ministry of Administrative Services. So you can see this initiative is really a whole of government effort. So really wonderful to have you all. In this panel, our honorable panelists will share their reflections on the recent national experiences as well as their aspirations for the next phase of this shared regional journey under the extended CRVS decade. But I hope that we'll have a few minutes at the end to have some exchange between the ministers and the delegates in this audience. So now let's just kick off. Let me start with Your Excellencies, Minister from Philippines and Maldives. We all know that both the Philippines and Maldives have established strong CRVS system with high registration coverage and ongoing improvements in the quality of registration, as well as effort to ensure that the system reaches those most vulnerable and in remote areas. So let me start with you, Honorable Minister from the Philippines. So in the past decade, how has your CRVS system responded to shocks? And what lessons were learned in terms of resilience and services continuity that you could share with the region? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The Philippines, as you know, just like other countries in the Asia and the Pacific, is not spared from disasters such as typhoons. Between next month, July, until December, we will be hit by at least a dozen typhoons. Also, powerful earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and of course, the global 19 pandemic. These shocks have disrupted our communities, destroyed infrastructure, and affected how we deliver our basic services. In the event of disasters and the records at the local civil registry offices are destroyed, the local civil registry offices reconstruct copies of their civil registry records from the Philippine Statistics Authority. So if one community is affected, for example, by flooding and the civil registry documents are destroyed or lost, they actually can reconstruct this utilizing our database at the Philippine Statistics Authority, where we have close to 200 million records consisting of births, marriages, and death records. The PSA, the Philippine Statistics Authority, provides access to the local civil registry offices to secure copies in our central archives, because we have both the digital form and also the physical form. Meanwhile, when the COVID-19 pandemic brought the country to a standstill, people still needing their birth registration will have to be provided with these documents, and the civil registration and vital statistics system had to adapt quickly, finding ways to continue serving the public even when mobility was restricted. The Philippine Statistics Authority understand the need and acted quickly. We temporarily relaxed the rules on timely registration, knowing that many families could not immediately reach civil registry offices due to the lockdowns. To keep services going, we mobilized a skeletal workforce, dedicated staff who reported on site despite the risk to process vital documents and to ensure people could still access the civil registration and vital statistics services when they needed them the most. But the work did not stop there. Our field offices, the staff across the country went extra mile, continuing civil registration services and conducting national ID registration, which is under the authority of the Philippine Statistics Authority, and ensured that people could access the needed documents, national ID, and civil registry documents. Equipped with health safeguards and mobile kits, they reach communities to ensure that no one is left behind, not even during time of pandemic. These efforts helped thousands of Filipinos during a time of uncertainty and reminded us that civil registration is not just paperwork, it is a lifeline. Timely and accurate release of data from the Philippine Statistics Authority on the number and causes of deaths was necessary to meet the demand of the government in monitoring the impact of COVID-19 pandemic during those years. During that time, the Philippine Statistics Authority provided weekly data to the government's interagency task force to track cases versus the surveillance information from our Ministry of Health. This would not have been possible without the responsive and reliable CRBS information technology system in place, both at the Philippine Statistics Authority headquarters and the field offices, and also at the local civil registry offices nationwide. Lessons learned in terms of our resilience and service continuity, integrating digital technology into the civil registration process is crucial for building a civil registration and vital statistics system that can withstand various challenges such as natural disasters, national health emergencies, and other unforeseen events that may disrupt public and private services. This advancement offers an opportunity for digital data management and processing where data capture and storage are facilitated through digital tools, eliminating the lengthy and complicated paper trail from the occurrence of the vital events to submission at the Philippine Statistics Authority, where records are stored in the central database and archives. Other innovations that we implemented during the pandemic, and we are still making use of these tools. One is the zero contact policy through the implementation of the online appointment system to manage queue of clients going into our outlets, the introduction of the issuance of the e-certificate of civil registry documents. These are registry documents in digital copies through government to government or institutional setup through our online platform, increased advocacy on the use of the online platform to request copies of the civil registry documents through our service providers, enhanced features of the PSA issued documents through QR codes, verifiable using the Philippine Statistics Authority e-verification app, and the introduction of cashless payment options in our outlets nationwide. These innovations, Excellencies, made our client more convenient in availing the civil registration services and therefore sustained in our operation even after lifting the lockdowns in the pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, it is indeed incredible, not only the political commitment, but also the institutional arrangement. I think Philippines has this unique institution set up, and you lead not only on the National Statistical Authority side, but also is the civil registration. That's just absolutely incredible. And also the adoption of a digital technology and all the innovative approaches you adopted over the recent years is really impressive. So thank you very much for sharing with us. Now let's turn to you, Your Excellency, our Minister from Maldives.
All right, thank you so much. Maldives is comprises of 1,192 islands. So among these islands, 200 islands are inhabited, and Maldives is comprises of 20 natural atolls. Now, if you look at the technology infrastructure in the Maldives, we are quite good in the region. I'll give you some statistics. 85% we have internet penetration rate. We have 100% 4G coverage, about 80% 5G coverage, fiber optic connection 100%, and then we have subsea cables, 6 subsea cables. So our CRVS system demonstrated resilience by decentralizing services to local councils and health facilities across the Maldives. There is 24/7 service across 378 facilities. This includes 2 tertiary hospitals, 6 regional hospitals, 17 atoll hospitals, 168 health centers, 189 island councils, and 19 atolls. There is an effective decentralization ensured, our effective decentralization ensured that continued access even during disruptions like COVID-19 pandemic. So the key lessons learned include 4. One is the value of service decentralization. Second is criticality in obtaining real-time data in a country where we have remote islands. And third is the importance of interagency coordination. Fourth, maintaining flexibility, locally accessible service points. We believe that CRVS is crucial for effective governance in legal identity, social protection, and then areas like public health initiatives. Our CRVS system is essential for resource allocation, policy making, monitoring for SDGs. I believe the CRVS system would enhance transparency, accountability, reduce fraud and corruption, and access to services for the citizens in the Maldives. So coming back to the most key lessons, I would say the most clear key lessons that we have learned is the criticality in obtaining real-time data in the context of Maldives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is indeed really impressive to ensure the system will reach all these islands, but with the high connectivity and the commitment to really ensure real-time registration and the data sharing. It's just absolutely critical. So you have chance to come back to share more of your thinking, but let's turn to Your Excellencies from Pakistan and Papua New Guinea. We all know that Pakistan and Papua New Guinea faced significant challenges with your CRVS system at the start of the CRVS decade. But you have indeed demonstrated clear political commitment and given policy priorities and taken important steps towards modernizing the system. For example, just last month, Pakistan's National Database and Registration Authority launched a hospital-based real-time digital system for real-time birth and death registration. And in 2024, if I remember clearly, Papua New Guinea passed a new civil and identity register bill, which really gave the legal mandates, including registration of death and streamlined issues of ID-linked birth certificates. So all of these are very important measures. So could you share some insight on how such measures in your country have helped improve your civil registration services and how they help ensure the registration service reach those people, particularly in vulnerable situations, hard to reach areas, and what you see as the major challenges in achieving towards the inclusive and universal registration. You want to start first? Yeah, maybe you start and then we'll move to.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and distinguished delegates and excellencies. Firstly, it's a great honor to be part of this roundtable. And Islamic Republic of Pakistan reaffirms its commitment to universal civil registration and provision of legal identity, irrespective of the status in Pakistan. Firstly, if I can carry a few phrases from you, and that is the truly inclusive registration system. I would say that the inclusivity by design is the criteria, And especially for a large country like Pakistan, which is geographically large, demographically very diverse, and culturally quite rich. So we had to design systems which have to cater for at different levels. So firstly, inclusivity in terms of the geography, I would say, that what we have tried to do is that due to the federal nature of our registration system and the provincial civil registration, we have tried to fuse these two, and we have increased our points of presence from 1100 federal registrars to 11,000 provincial registrars, and all are now digitally connected to our central CRVS system. Secondly, we have increased the footprint in terms of the mobile registration vans. Now there are 300, and all these are equipped with satellite connectivity. Also, we have come up with the direct-to-home service where we provide biker service and man-pack services where other mode of transport cannot go or the person cannot come for the registration. You already mentioned about the hospital, but I'll come to that later. Secondly, we have gone for the analytics-based intervention for full demographic coverage. And our focus has been to register the unregistered and count the uncounted. Especially, we have focused on the persons with special needs, persons like the transgender group, religious minorities, orphans, street children, and people who have been left behind in the socioeconomic development. So these are those areas where we have specially focused. So it's not that we deploy our resources equally, but we have focused on those areas where actually the registration was statistics showed that we need to intervene. We have undertaken special legislation for this, and now our new CRVS reform bill is ready, and also National Registration and Biometric Policy Framework has been approved. We have undertaken specially the organized special registration campaigns, and just as Honorable Delegate from Philippines mentioned that in few areas we have relaxed the registration requirements so that the people are not left out of the registration coverage. Also, we had made our systems culturally very aware, and especially in those areas where because of the culture or other issues, the women folk couldn't come to the registration center because it was staffed by all male staff. So there we have all female staff registration centers. And we have also increased our own workforce from 19% female to 25%. And one day at every registration center, we are just reserving for the women folk to come. I also want to highlight the contribution made by the Benazir Income Support Program. It's a social protection program covering around 9.3 million beneficiaries. And the most innovative thing about is that the head of the family is a lady. Where there was no incentive to register, because of this program, the women folk, they come over and register. We have also gone for the economic marginalized people by offering fee waivers. We are not charging any registration fee or documentation fee. Those people who were disconnected are away from the technology. We have gone for the satellite connectivity, especially at the rural centers, and you also mentioned that we are trying to link up with our development partners on the birth and death notification tool. It has come online just few days ago, and now it's being expanded. Digitally, those who are connected, we are trying to reach out through Park ID, and what we have done that the federal ID, same application now provides the CRVS services where the parents can register the birth of the child, or the family members can register any life events which occur in the family. Major challenges, I say that at the meta level, our challenges are same. First is the legislative, then what to do with how to differentiate between the citizens and the aliens, especially in those countries which have large displaced population, or from the neighboring country the population has come in, and also how to ensure that we remain culturally sensitive and provide technical solutions with empathy, and the policy guidelines are applied in a more humane manner so that no one is left behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing all these measures that you have taken. I mean, I paid particular attention to what you mentioned is the gender dimension and with the introduction of female staff to provide more secured and motivation for registration. And I also commend you for indeed looking for the technical solution with empathy, especially in terms of citizens and non-citizens situation. No, thank you very much for really highlighting those. Now, let's go to our minister from Papua New Guinea.
Thank you, Chair, and appreciate it. I believe your question is in two folds. The first question is the measure we're taking as a country, and secondly, the challenges that remain for us to address. Just a brief of Papua New Guinea, just for the benefit of the conference, is that Papua New Guinea is one of the most diverse countries in the world. We speak 836 languages, so every 500 meters there's a village that speaks a completely new language. So that's the dynamics that we have to work with. In addition to that, we have over 100 different traditions and cultures, and those can also conflict in the work that we need to do. And then when we look at the demographics of the people, and then we look at the geographic of the land as well, 97% of the land is owned by people, customary landowners. So most people reside on the land. They don't make their way and live in cities and towns, but they live in rural-based communities. And then, of course, out of that, our population, 87% of our population are rural-based. And these are the challenges that we have to work with in order to achieve the outcome that we want globally. CIRV, when it was launched in 2015, it was an ambitious launch. Government funding was put towards it to achieve the outcome, but along the way there was a lot of challenges and criticism that came about. And to make sure that we address it going forward better, what we have done is that we have about 22 provinces in the country. And out of those 22 provinces, we've so far implemented or launched 17 units in each province. And dealing with different languages, different cultural barriers, it's important to work with different units within those provinces to be able to achieve the required result that the country requires to have all our citizens registered. And one of the methods we are also using is that we are dealing both with our national members of parliament also, and also with our third tier government to work closely with government to government work lines to try and achieve the outcome that we require. We are also working very closely with hospitals, schools, and our local communities to be able to achieve this mammoth task of going into various rural communities to register all our people. We've also moved in the space of working with corporate entities, particularly investors that come into the country and work within the gold, gas, and oil industry. We work very closely with them to ensure that whichever community they are working from, we use their network to also reach out and register our people in the community. There's also another method that we've identified, and this is based on what we've observed from our closer neighbors around us. And one of those things we identified is that one of the way to register people is to have a common event that attracts people. So we are also seeing that as a tool to use to address the registration issues that we have. And we find that in Papua New Guinea, what drives a lot of people to participate is in the elections. And our electoral roll by law is mandatory for everyone to be registered. So we find that using that medium, particularly now that Papua New Guinea is migrating away from paper voting to biometric voting, we are seeing that that's an opportunity for us to use that avenue to be able to register our people. The important thing is that we also need to have regulatory frameworks to be able to achieve this major outcome. And one of our acts that we had was a colonial act, and just in 2024, with a lot of work involved. Took us about 10 years to get to that stage. Last year, the National Parliament passed the Civil Registration Act 2024. And 2 years before that, the Digital Government Act 2022 was also launched in Papua New Guinea to help strengthen the legal framework that we have to be able to achieve those major outcomes. We've also been very successful to work with several United Nations entities, UNICEF, UNFPA, to be able to support them, to support us through donation of kits, and we've been able to work very closely with them to achieve those outcomes. There are, of course, many challenges that still remain that we need to work through. Papua New Guinea being a very difficult terrain, hard to reach areas, and the fact that many of our people reside on their land, we don't have proper infrastructures like roads. So again, this is another challenge that we have to work with. We also have social issues we got to work around, and we also have disruption to services, which are sometimes caused by natural disasters. And of course, the diverse language and the barriers that we continue to face. Of course, some of the norms, such as religious beliefs, also plays an impeding role to prevent us from to achieve the outcome that we want. But all this aside, we are still very confident that as we continue to slowly but surely move through and continue to build awareness with our people the importance of registration, we're sure that we will work within the timeline that's been set, and we're hoping that by 2030 we should have all our people registered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate those very candid conversation we have here. It's incredible. Just this panel itself reminds us not only this region has a huge diversity, but also within a country, the kind of diversity that you were describing and the challenges that you face in trying to introduce a unifying approach and reach the goal is really, heartening. But I really hope that the recent regulatory introductions will help provide a more firm basis for introducing more creative approaches for us to overcome some of this. And I also noticed that we have been talking about partnership, right? Not just among nations, among development partners and with governments, but also the so-called PPPs, the private partnership you have been creating to see how you can use that network to help improve the registration is very commendable. So thank you very much for sharing that. I will turn to another question. We have been looking at what has been happening in recent years in different countries. Now I'd like to invite our panelists to share some of their thought in terms of what their aspirations are in terms of under this extended decade of CRBS, what they see as the priorities and what they want to see their system continue to evolve. But before I give them floor, I also encourage you to be prepared. We will spend a few minutes to also have a bit of a dialogue between you and the panelists. So get ready with your comments or questions. Okay, with my last question, I will turn to you in the same order. First, the Philippines Minister.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Of course, the Philippines' ultimate goal is really a full digitalization of the civil registration and vital statistics system. We feel that this is very important, and we are progressing in this area. While the CRBS system in our country has not fully eliminated manual processing, the Philippine Statistics Authority has already begun digital integration with the implementation of our civil registry system information technology project, which is under, as mentioned by the chair, under the public-private partnership. So within the Philippine Statistics Authority, we have already the digitalization of our civil registry services. We have in our data centers close to 200 million records. In line with our strong commitment to further improving the civil registration and vital statistics system, we are advancing towards digitalization of the entire country's CRBS system. The challenge in our country is that while at the central authority, which is the Philippine Statistics Authority, we have already the digitalization process. The data providers, which are the local government units, numbering about 1,642. A lot of them are not yet integrated into the digitalization process. So this is actually our next step. We will integrate the data from the providers. These are the local civil registry offices, hospitals, to reach our database at the Philippine Statistics Authority. And we are, as I mentioned, we are making progress here. We continue to expand partnership with our development partners, including Open CRBS and the Global Grant Program, the Data for Health Initiatives, to develop birth and death modules for the electronic CRBS, which is what we call the ECRBS. Currently, we are at phase 1 of our digitalization program, wherein we link a number of local government units for pilot to integrate into our system at the Philippine Statistics Authority. Additionally, we have also pilot tested the administrative petition for correction of clerical errors automated system. This is when a client would request for correction due to some errors in perhaps spelling. Before, this is done manually, but we are now moving into a digitalization process so that they can just upload the documents that are needed. It will reach our database. So we are pilot testing this, and we are, as I mentioned, making progress. This Philippine Statistics Authority initiatives are geared towards achieving efficient and effective information technology system for our CRBS. As we strive to build a resilient, agile, and future-fit CRBS system, of course, we need to equip ourselves, the Philippine Statistics Authority personnel, and also the personnel of the local civil registry offices with deep expertise in civil registration, consistently fostering partnership with our stakeholders, proactively address issues, and continuously, very important, upgrade our knowledge and skills to keep pace with the evolving technologies that directly impact the needs and demands of the stakeholders. These qualities are essential for effective decision-making and crafting suitable solutions when challenges arise and when efficient government service is at stake. The implementation of our Civil Registry System Information Technology Project marks significant improvement in the computerization of our civil registry operations at the Philippine Statistics Authority headquarters and the processing time in the issuance of our civil registry documents to the clients aligned to the ease of doing business, including the generation of timely and accurate vital statistics. So the Philippine Statistics Authority handles not just the Civil Registration Office, but also the National Statistics Office. The CRS ITP2 project established also 79 civil registration outlets nationwide and more servicing outlets through our 19 mobile civil registration outlets and other channels so that our stakeholders, our citizens, can easily secure copies of their civil registry documents. The CRS Information Technology Project also developed vital event information system that is used in the processing of civil registry documents at our field offices and facilitated central management of documents, archiving, and in the generation of vital statistics report. So these are actually steps that the Philippine Statistics Authority is taking towards full digitalization. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. It's always good to hear about the ambition and the pragmatic effort you put into place to achieve them. So thank you very much. Now let's turn to our minister from Maldives.
Yeah, thank you. So I believe our CRBS system has full integration with the national ID and the social protection system, which is key to inclusive governance and equitable service delivery. Our CRBS system is crucial to public health, the economy, public service delivery, and also the human dignity in the Maldives. Our system has covered areas like births, deaths, marriage, and host of other areas. Citizens will not be able to realize their full rights or participate in a democracy like in the Maldives. One of the issues in the Maldives is the lack of regulatory frameworks, which we are addressing. So right now we have drafted acts to the parliaments, and some of them are on the way to the parliament, the others are in the drafting stage. So we are drafting a digital ID act. Cyber Security Act is already drafted on its way to the parliament. Data protection and privacy bill is on the way to parliament. And also we are drafting artificial intelligence act. One of the issues in the Maldives is the silo systems which restrict sharing relevant information. So in order to address this, we are developing a data sharing policy as well to address the interoperability of systems. Our CRVS system will obviously increasingly support in the provision of real-time data for proper strategic planning, development of inclusive policies, and also optimize crisis responses. In broader aspect of development governance strategies, I believe our CRVS system will be a key contributor in breaking down the existing silos as well as in establishing national data exchange platform. Furthermore, with the introduction of robust digital ID system with appropriate legal frameworks will ensure reduction on resource reliance and human intervention, whereby properly optimizing citizen-centric service deliveries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for outlining all this planned from regulatory to the system integration. Very timely reminder. We're also pursuing this in the age of AI. So how do we ensure not only we tap into its huge potential and also manage the risk, but really the real potential impact of the data generated by our CRVS system is when it's integrated with other administrative system data generated that will get the real, and not just descriptive, but also predictive and prescriptive policy insight. So thank you so much for that. All right, let me turn to you, Pakistan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Firstly, I must highlight that since 1973, our National Registration Act that acknowledges the critical, I would say, the importance of CRVS for informed or evidence-based decision making. Creation of NADRA in 2000, and me being the Registrar General of Pakistan, the reason of being is to create multi-purpose databases to not only enable the ID documents, but also the financial systems, governance, health and education, social protection, and even national security applications. So by design, Pakistan systems are unlike few other countries where only ID part or the registration part is there. Our purpose is to create useful data. So we have the concept of the feeder and the fed. So under some legislation or under some legal authority, you collect the data, associate it, if it's not already associated with a unique national ID, associate it with that and then pass back as a processed data to the user. So that is just one example, social protection. So at this moment, Benazir Income Support Program, while our national ID card, for that we only collect 45 fields, but for their purpose, for this poverty mean targeting and other score, they collect over 150 fields. And that kind of data, once it's collected, then it is also used for other beneficial purposes. One more example is of the COVID, in which we created, I think, and we responded very proactively. The complete digital certificate and COVID vaccination was done through our application. And later on, this was converted into National Immunization Management System, where I'm happy to report to you that around 320 million vaccines have been administered and the digital certificates have been issued. Also, the universal federal health insurance coverage is benefiting from these databases. And our data is also now enabling service delivery. At the scale we operate, we carry out around 2 million EKYC operation or know your customer operation for financial and telecom sectors or other applications. It is also helping at the provincial level and the local level for resource allocation and where the government should be actually looking at. Uh, the data integration has brought us to a level where we can actually provide proactive, I would say, forecasting and such kind of statistics. But as already highlighted by Honorable Minister from Maldives, the data interoperability and siloed nature is a common challenge which we need to access. And at this moment, we are undertaking a major program with the help of the World Bank, a digital economy enhancement project, for which NADRA is not only responsible for issuance of the digital ID on our upcoming Independence Day on 14th of August, but also the National Data Exchange layer, where we are trying to integrate through data interoperability diverse data sources, and also we are imposing national standards starting from driving license to other things. And we are trying to convert with our development partners the challenges which we face commonly into opportunities, and Pakistan would be really happy to share its experience in this field. And at this moment, we are not only managing the identity system in Pakistan, but also we are providing support to Somalia, Nigeria, Kenya, and Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's incredible to hear from all of you. Um, so you can see over the decade that a lot has been, foundational work has been introduced, and I'm sure in the next 5 years we will see a lot more progress. But before we go, let me invite you.
Thank you, Chair. I share the similar sentiments as Pakistan in the sense of what we want to achieve as a country. Over the last few years, Papua New Guinea has been collecting data using a number of different agencies. And that has created a lot of disharmony in terms of data sharing. It also has created silos with how people operate in terms of not sharing their data. So we try to look at how best can we make our national ID be the only source of information. And then we've realized that if we can create a single source of truth, then everything else can link into a single database. And there's a statement that was used, they call it the genesis of individual data. So the idea in Papua New Guinea now is that NID, which is the single source of truth, is the only point of identifying an individual. So if you want to obtain your driver's license, open up a bank account, NID must be the required source of ID. And then all the other agencies through an ecosystem that the ICT is working on can link in and build up on the character of an individual going forward. So working with the banks now, we are now asking the banks to work very closely with us so that every customer that we have must be required to produce a NID card before a bank account can be opened. One of the other things we are also looking at, and it's a discussion that is going on and there's planning happening as we speak, is to move from a hard card to a electronic card. So we are working on that, and we are hoping that as part of our celebration during independence of our country on the 16th of September is to look at the possibility of launching an electronic ID, which is what we're working on. One of the other things we're looking at is that PNG is now migrating into a biometric voting system. So as part of that, we want NID, or your single base or source of truth, to be the only identification that you require that triggers you to cast your vote, and you can vote for your candidate or your leader. And then the last one is that the two things we are working on now is to look at the possibility of drawing up a NID mandatory act. And we are also looking at reviewing our National Statistics Act so that those information can be shared, or data can be shared with all other agencies in order to ensure that we take this journey together and achieve a common goal for Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, I think the whole digital transformation will really enable our hands when it comes to ensuring universal registration, but also in terms of making the data generated by the system to be of real use through integrative data use and other applications. But this also must be coupled with legal regulatory modernization. skill development and the human mindset change across our bureaucratic system so that we can really open things up. But thank you so much. I now want to give a chance to our audience. If, you know, I myself is very inspired by this exchange here. I just wonder whether any of you want to share any thought or ask any questions, or even our panelists, if you after having heard from each other, if you have any comments or questions for others, this is your chance. Do I see any hands? Yeah, would you like to comment? All right. If not, I know that we have all been very how would I say, feeling fulfilled once the declaration is adopted, once the report of this historic conference is adopted. We feel that we're now really ready to roll. But with that, let me thank our really honorable, distinguished panelists. It's really very, very encouraging and inspiring to hear from all of you, not just the progress we have made so far, but also the aspiration, the planned changes you want to continue to lead and push in countries as part of this next journey. I want to thank you for sharing all of this. I'm not going to summarize, but I just want to refer to what the distinguished delegates from Micronesia said early on very poetically. You know, we're all in the same canoe, so we must row in unison. I think this CRVS decade for Asia Pacific indeed provided us this enormous canoeing for us to come aboard together towards the shared goal and row in unison. There's still a lot of challenges, and we're still adapting, especially the whole world is changing so fast, not just in terms of technology, in terms of how AI is taking shape in deciding how we will be working with each other and what kind of practical applications that can be leveraged to advance our goals, but also in terms of the political uncertainty and the economic changes. But through this all, if we have a clear goal, this region will move fast towards laying the real foundations through CRBS system transformation to ensure that we have real inclusive and sustainable prosperity for all. So with that, let's conclude this panel and thank everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to all our speakers for their thoughtful contribution and for sharing their national experience and insights. Your reflections have not only highlighted the progress made across the region, but also underscored the critical importance of resilience and inclusivity in building a CRVS systems. I also like to thank our moderator for skillfully guiding the discussion and ensuring a rich and engaging exchange of ideas. Thank you once again for your valuable contributions. Distinguished delegates, we now move to the closing session of the third Ministerial Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific. May I now request the conference room officer secretary to show the closing video prepared by the Secretariat. Thank you.
This week, ministers and leaders from across Asia and the Pacific gathered at the United Nations in Bangkok for the third Ministerial Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia and the Pacific. Together, they made a bold and unified commitment that by 2030, every birth and every death will be registered. To turn this vision into reality, they extended the Asia-Pacific Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Decade to 2030, reaffirming their determination to build systems that leave no one behind. Over the past decade, we have made remarkable progress, reducing the number of unregistered children under 5 from 135 million to just 51 million. That's real impact, but millions remain invisible. Each year, 6.9 million deaths go unregistered across our region, and for many, we don't even know the cause of their deaths. Without this vital information, we cannot design effective policies or take the right actions to save lives. Our work is far from over. ESCAP and its partners stand ready to work hand in hand with members and associate members across the region to bring this vision to fruition by 2030. With strategic investments, digitalization, innovation, and strong regional collaboration, we can build inclusive and resilient CRVS systems that ensure no one is left behind and that we truly get everyone in the picture.
Thank you for that inspiring video. Before I close this session, I would like to ask Madam Amija Salisha Alisbana, sorry about the pronunciation, the Under-Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP to deliver her concluding remarks. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. This week, during the third Ministerial Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics in Asia Pacific, we celebrated the remarkable progress made over the past decade. Millions more births and deaths have been registered, and countries are increasingly utilizing this vital information to guide policy and planning. But we were also reminded of the urgent challenges that remain. Around 14 million children have not had their births registered by their first birthday. And each year, around 6.9 million deaths go unregistered, many without a cause of death recorded, especially for those that occur outside of health facilities. This week has been a powerful call to action for all of us. Over the past 3 days, we have heard many inspiring examples, from efforts to reach the most marginalized communities to countries updating their laws and regulations, simplifying business processes, and embracing the opportunities that digitalization provides. All of this is in order to record more births and more deaths until everyone, everywhere is included. Throughout the week, we have witnessed the immense power of partnership. The regional steering group, made up of 22 countries and 8 development partners, has shown what is possible when we work together. We have decided to extend the mandate of the regional steering group for CRVS in Asia Pacific with new members for the period 2026 to 2031 to be endorsed by the Commission at its 82nd session next year. In our ministerial declaration, we reaffirm our shared vision that all people in Asian Pacific will benefit from universal and responsive civil registration and vital status system that facilitate the realization of their rights and support good governance, health, and development. We also decided to convene the fourth ministerial conference and to undertake a final review of the implementation of the regional action framework. This will mark the conclusion of the Asian Pacific Civil Registration and Vital Statistic Decade, which has now been extended to 2030. Our declaration includes a strong call to members and associate members to ensure that civil registration services are equally available to all people. Having seen the extraordinary commitment and progress shared this week, I'm very confident that we will continue to advance it together. And in closing, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all delegates for your active participation and contribution. My heartfelt thanks go to our chair and vice chair for their leadership and all the speakers for their insights. I also would like to express my sincerest appreciation to all the organizing partners who have contributed to this event, as well as to my colleagues here at ESCAP, led by Rachel, the conference servicing and interpretation teams, and everyone supporting this event behind the scenes for their dedication and excellent organization. Together, let us move forward with renewed determination toward a future where every birth is registered, every death is recorded, and every person is seen. Let's continue working to get everyone in the picture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Executive Secretary, for underscoring the importance of us taking urgent action, but also of the strength of regional collaboration. Before we close the session, I would like to thank you, Madam Rachel Bevan, and your staff for the effective servicing of the Ministerial Conference. I would also like to recognize all those from the Secretariat who worked behind the scenes to make this session a productive and a memorable one. I would also like to thank all the co-organizers of this conference for all the efforts and dedication to make this a successful conference. Before the conference is closed, the Secretariat has an important announcement. Secretary, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegates, I would like to ask you to complete the evaluation questionnaire. Please direct your attention to the QR code on the screen. The questionnaire aims to assess the relevance, effectiveness, and efficiency of the conference, as well as associated events and side events. Your feedback will enable the Secretariat to improve its preparations for and servicing of future conferences. We therefore sincerely hope you would take a few minutes to respond to it. Thank you.
Distinguished delegates, with that, I thank all the delegations for their active participation in this conference. We are hereby formally closed.